best friend.
We're always going to be relatives. I don't necessarily feel like we're family.
Mm-hmm. He wants the baddies.
And
No,
that is
okay.
something I'm not opposed to.
Yeah. What'd you say?
I'm with you, man.
I'm here for the cutoff.
Okay.
Perfect.
Welcome to the next episode of Sincerely Millennials. I'm your host, Nia Janae, and we will do a round table again just to introduce everyone. So we'll start on my right.
Yes, I'm back. Farah at the same love for Farah.
It's Greg. Greg.
Greg.
That's all you
have
get.
back again.
It's Raphael again, and still no Instagram for me.
It's Brenda. It's still top secret.
Oh,
And there you go. So today's topic is probably more controversial, which you probably don't think after watching our last podcast with this group, but I mean, it's possible. So today we're going to be talking about cutting off toxic relationships. So whatever toxic relationship that is to you. First thing I want to ask you guys is, have you cut anyone off going into this new decade? So I know, like, in our last podcast, I had spoken to you guys, especially you, Ehab, and I said, like, there's sometimes you just have to cut certain people off. So something that I learned going into the new decade is I didn't need to necessarily cut off friends, but more so family. Personally, I know everyone doesn't have that same experience, but that was for me. So have any of you guys gone into this new decade or this new year, however which way you want to look at it, cutting off some people? Or are you going to?
I feel like myself, I haven't really cut off anyone per se. I don't really like that word. I feel like, you know what? There are like people, and we're all, walking through life, and we're going through different things at different times, and it doesn't mean they're a bad person. And so for me to cut them off, like, is like, I don't know, 100%. I don't agree with that. I maybe will like space myself from them, like distance myself, but I will never, is like actually cut anyone off.
Like having that separation, like you kind of had to like separate a little bit from someone, take a little breather in a certain sense.
Right.
I'm on the complete opposite side of Greg.
Okay.
I'm here for the cutoff.
Okay.
She said she's here for the cutoff.
Cut it.
I don't deal
I'm
with
just a nice
toxic.
guy.
I feel
I'm
like
just
if
a nice
our
guy.
friendship is too hard, like
Right.
if your friendship is taking a lot out of my life, like this is why I only have one friend. Like she's like my only friend that I talk to on a regular basis. Like I don't have energy for multiple people, and I feel like once our friendship becomes too hard, and when I say too hard, like if
Wait, no,
like,
what did you say?
Oh, everyone heard. I said I thought it was me. When
Yeah,
she
no,
said-
it's just me and Farah.
yeah, no,
It's just me and Farah.
It's just it's just
Yeah.
just
Sorry,
the
Rap.
two
You're gonna
of us.
live. You'll
Sorry,
be
bro.
fine.
Just the two of us.
Yeah, honestly, and he knows she's the only person I really talk to outside of him. Obviously, no, I don't have energy for it. Obviously, we're all friends. I'm not saying.
Yeah, we're all
that.
homies.
In case you're just joining us, Farah and Ehab are a couple.
Yeah, because people are probably gonna
yeah.
be like confused. Like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, no.
Yeah,
they're
like
together.
I'm sitting
Just
beside
had to
her, and
preface
like
it.
The rest of
What's
us,
going on?
the rest of
That's
us
my
aren't
honey.
necessarily. No, not necessarily. We're not together.
No, yeah, just them
I was
two.
trying to make that sound sweeter. Like we're not necessarily together. I'm like, no,
No,
actually,
there's
we're
no-
not.
it's not
There's no
halfway.
necessarily. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're not.
Yeah, that's my honey.
I'm with you, man. I don't know. Like for me, everybody
He's
in my
less
life,
dramatic than I am.
I'm so sorry you're
clearly.
gonna have to
everybody
mute
in
you.
my life that I have at this stage.
Yeah, we've done the cutoff.
I've already filtered through my friends, and you know,
Exactly.
I'm very strategic in who I actually like want to be friends with.
Or
too.
you let in.
Let in into my. Listen, acquaintances completely different. With everything else in life, certain things you have to do for work, certain things you have to do for build relationships in that way. But for me, like my true friends, and I have like a small circle of friends, but I have already chosen those guys. Those guys have been with me since high school. Like I don't really feel like I needed to cut anybody off, and I'm not. I wouldn't say that I'm not susceptible to meeting new people, but like I do like meeting new people and hearing their stories. Not necessarily gonna be my friend. I'm gonna cut them off, but you can learn something from everybody you speak to, whether they're your true friend or someone you just met or someone you just like that you've known for a long time and that have went through experiences you haven't spoken to them in a long time.
But I
don't
always
believe in, like, cutting
tell
people
him
off.
to
Yeah.
like we're all not blessed to have a Greg. Okay, and just,
Oh, wow.
so Greg
Thank
and
you.
Ehab have known each other for like since they were like 9. Okay,
so cute.
I don't have that.
Long
I don't
time,
have
long
a friend
time.
I've known for that long. Like
Yeah.
Janae is probably my oldest friend. Like I don't talk to anyone from high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? So not everyone is blessed to have a Greg.
But even with that, like you see how they know each other for a long time. Sometimes you can meet someone within a year and
And it feels like that.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
so you know what I mean. Like it's
100%
nice to have that foundation, but
Yes, but you know what? But I'm.
It's not necessary, to be honest.
I feel
It's
like
not necessary, but it's nice to grow.
It's
nice
nice.
to grow with someone, to see that you
Exactly.
can grow with
It's
a friend
nice.
for a certain amount of
Yeah.
time and know, like, you know what, like, we're still
we've
here.
been through milestones.
Yeah, like I
Like,
have
we-
friends
Yeah.
that I've had for
Yeah.
literally 20 years. Like I
Yeah.
have one of my friends is named Alexa. Like I've known her since my first day of grade 1.
Yeah.
Literally my first day of grade 1. She's still a girl for me. Like we're still cool, but we're not as close, obviously.
Right.
But
Yeah.
she is someone where I'm like, if I got married, yeah, you'd be a
She'd be
bridesmaid.
there,
Like
yeah.
like she'd still be a part of it, but we're not verbally as close on a day-to-day basis as I am with Farah, for instance. And I've only known you since 2017.
Yeah,
Got the dates
Only
right.
been
Like,
3
yo,
years.
that's the
Yeah.
real test of the
And
relationship.
that's
Yeah, we're trying to
Yeah,
like,
wait. Yeah, like, how long I known you for?
Honestly, for 3 years, like she knows everything. Like she's everything about. We know each other very well. But like you said, it's nice to know that you've had someone that you've grown up with, and
Yeah.
you guys can talk about same things together. And that's why I say Greg is our best friend.
Yeah.
Like it's not
Our best
at
I
this
appreciate
point.
that.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
No,
there's
no,
no
right?
agree
Like,
with
far
that
as like
statement
taking me
at
in,
all.
so
our best
I
friend.
appreciate that.
Cute. That's good.
You
No,
appreciate
we-
it?
we-
Ehab's like, no.
Okay, the reason why I think our friendship works really well is because we're very similar, but also very different. That's why we work really well together. And like you said, if it's hard to be your friend, like it's not hard being his friend.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah,
being his best, it's not
exactly.
hard. You know,
No.
it's very easy. It's very organic,
mesh
so to
really
say.
well.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I have to be someone different to be his best friend.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't work. It's not how
Yeah.
you have a best friend, right?
Yeah.
It's if you can be completely close, yourself with that person.
Yeah.
Even you know what I mean?
You
Like,
said in the other podcast,
Yeah.
right? Like being
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
like it's not hard.
If I have
Yeah.
to double think about
Yeah.
what I'm about to say to you, then I don't
Right.
want to be around you. I
Right.
want to be able to just talk my shit, and you not feel some type of way. You be like,
Yeah.
you know what, you know that's fine.
Yeah.
That's why she can check me. You know what I mean? I want to have friends that can check me, like be like, okay, sit the fuck down, like you're, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
sometimes I have to
You're doing
grab
too
her by
much.
the new growth in the back,
Yeah.
right there. Just like drape her up sometimes.
It's
like, no,
painful.
you're wrong
Yeah.
still.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
But I
the
feel
worst
like, to be
info.
very
Yeah,
honest, like
100%.
for people that are just tuning in that probably don't know this already, like not everyone here knows each other, but I know everyone here, realistically speaking, right? So it's like I know you from Ehab and Farah. I know Farah from work. I know you guys will meet Jordan. I swear
Cameraman.
you will.
Yeah.
You know Jordan. Like Jordan's from work. I've known you since I was 19. I knew you through Jordan. So it's like everyone kind of like
Somewhat-
I know
somewhat
everyone, so I have a
connected as
different
well.
type of friendship with everyone, but I can have separate conversations because we're so different.
Right.
And
Right.
just kind of like how you said how you and Greg have a friendship that is like you guys are very different individuals.
but
I-
also the same.
but also the same. I kind of like that about the same thing with me and Farah. Like we're very similar, but we're the same. But something that I personally like is like me and you have the same mentality. Like me and Ehab have the same mentality about a lot of like things relationship related. But you and my spouse have a lot of similar views on relationships. So like if she's having an issue, for instance, I can be like, yeah, I don't understand you. I can explain from your perspective because I would have the same mentality. But she can explain it from my boyfriends, and I'd be like. I mean, I'm her head. I'll be like, I still don't get it.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Right.
it's good that she
And I
can do
mean,
it though.
Yeah.
She's surrounded by Leos as well. Like her, like
Boyfriend's a
her
Leo?
spouse is Leo.
Yeah.
Like we're all Leos.
Well, yeah.
So we're you know what I mean. So we somewhat have similarities
Yeah.
with each other.
But I do think that when I think of like cutting off toxic relationships again, when I think of who I've had to cut off, and it's just based off. Again, I get what you're saying. Like cut off sounds really harsh.
It's-
I would say yeah, maybe it's,
It's
more
no
of a
disrespect,
separate,
right?
Like,
It's
yeah,
never like I don't know, like personal.
Yeah, it's not
right?
really personal
You know,
in the sense
it's
of like
just-
I'm trying to be mean. It's more so I've learned that my happiness comes before everything
Absolutely, yeah,
else.
that's
Period. And if you are not
Amen.
giving me at this point in my life true happiness, I cannot afford to have you around in a certain sense. So for me, I had to check family members because it wasn't necessarily friends. Like I have a good group of friends around me that I feel confident around. But for me, when it came to certain family members, I was like, you know what? I don't hate you. We're always going to be relatives. I don't necessarily feel like we're family. I feel like we're relatives. I'll always respect you as a relative, but I don't need that false relationship where we try to act like something that we're not.
right.
It doesn't make me feel personally good inside. So when I think of like cutting people off or separating myself, that's something I had to do. But I know for other people, like you come from a very tight knit family. You come from a very tight knit family. I don't necessarily have that. So I'm like,
So did that hurt you? Like that like must have been hard as like for you to do something like that to like I don't know like who it was.
Honestly,
right?
no,
You don't have
not
to get into it, but
necessarily.
it's
Only
more-
because like I didn't like I'm an only child on my mom's side, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have siblings on my other half, but like when it comes to like that, it's like I didn't really grow up. I can say
with them. So
super duper close. I'm very different in age from a lot of people. Like me and my mom are 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
Me and one of my aunts is 10. Me and one of my aunts is 7. So I kind of grew up more as like my parents' sibling. More than like them being my parent.
Okay.
So for them, it's like we were never super close. We didn't do things together. Like that was never a reality or a normal thing. So post passing, I kind of had to be like I get it. Everyone wants to be like really close and like comfort you and stuff. But I'm like, I actually don't like that false relationship. It doesn't make me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm in a false reality, and I don't like that. And I don't need it. That's just
I
me.
hear where you're coming
Some
from.
other people may need it, and that's perfectly fine. But I don't necessarily need it. So it's like I've had to learn to like be like, we've always been distant. It's always been a normal thing. But I've had to kind of like re-explain that distance when people kind of want to come closer.
I gotcha.
It could just be like ignorance. I don't know.
No,
but it's just
you-
my norm.
you're-
I think it's like in the West Indian community too. Like
Yeah.
they like to pretend that like what's really there is not really there. We still have to
Yeah.
fake the funk for the face. So
Whereas
it's
like in your culture, I know like it's very, very different. And I know a lot of people from like that type of background, and family is so tight knit for them. I'm like, I didn't grow up that way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I grew up by myself, like pretty much as a kid by myself. Like I watch TV by myself. I do things by
Okay.
myself. So when it comes to separations, that's something
It's very
I've had
easy
to
for you
do.
to do because like you don't have that connection.
I'm very
or-
good at being like, you know,
Yeah.
like this isn't working.
It's like logic.
Gone.
It's logic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Just
because
logic
I,
before
I
emotion.
really
Feel no
do feel
ways.
like
Yeah.
if you
Feel
don't
no
make
ways.
someone genuinely happy,
Yeah.
like why are you around? Like why are
Yeah.
you inviting
Yeah.
that unhappiness into your life? Like when you said that is something you want to focus on for the next decade is true happiness. You have to sometimes make those hard decisions where you're like, I appreciate it. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just not for me.
Yeah.
I gotta ask Greg a question based on what
What's
you're
up?
saying now, because
Yeah.
you're saying that why keep it fake, right? Essentially, why keep it fake, right? So just real quickly with how I stand on it is, I can walk away from people, right? I've never truly had to cut someone off up until very recently, right?
Really?
Yeah, so just I'm not gonna get into the story too much,
Right.
but I told you this. There was a guy I was working with, right? We had a little partnership going, and
Oh, yeah,
it
yeah,
was
we
going
know,
really
we know,
well.
we
And
know,
then
yeah.
I just like it's just who he ultimately was.
Yeah.
I'm like I can't.
It didn't bring you
Deal-
happiness. It wasn't.
Yeah, and I
positive
was
for
always
you.
thinking about it.
You just
So
didn't mesh with him.
It's just
Yeah.
his like fundamentals on a deeper level weren't in line with yours,
right,
In a
and
sense.
then
Exactly.
or his foundation wasn't
Yeah.
solid. Yeah.
So I actually I wanted to ask you though. So you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier that you never truly cut someone off, right?
No.
But is there a point is there a breaking point?
Yes, and it's probably like feeding into the next topic about toxic relationships or
Yeah.
like right. It was right. I was in a relationship for a long time, and like over those years, you learn to love and love hard, and it just comes with time, right? I believe love comes with time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yes, you will like meet somebody and you will love them right away. Yes, it's like people like that, or your mom, your dad, whatever it is. You'll always have that love. But as you meet someone, I met my ex when I was really young, and I grew up with her. And going through that, you like build a bond. It's a connection. Okay. And over time, as we're both young and we're both like figuring shit out and we're going in like different paths. I was going this way and she was going that way. Right. And I still loved her.
Yeah.
But at one point I need to put my happiness first, as
Exactly,
you said, Janae.
yeah.
And that was a point. It was the hardest decision I've ever made in my life, was to separate my love
Yeah.
from my happiness. Like I needed to like put me first.
Yeah.
Right. And do that. And so, right. It's like to your question. Yes, there has been a point where I was pushed to that point because I was no longer happy
Yeah.
with myself.
Yeah, and I think that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because it's cliche to say, right? But it's ultimately what makes you happy, right? So if you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes.
The question is, was love enough? Like,
See,
'cause
for me,
you loved her.
yeah. See, no.
But was it enough to keep
No.
you with her?
No. Now that is me just like coming from where I'm just like the person that I am, right? Is that I see things a certain way, and love is not enough for me if I'm not okay with myself and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And what I see
fair.
all the time is there's people in love, regardless of the like time they've been together, or they just love each other, but they are not okay with what they're doing or who they are,
Yeah.
or they're sacrificing too much.
Yeah.
And I have a thing with sacrifice, right? I sacrifice a lot, and I'm at a point now where like I don't sacrifice for anything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're over
But
it now.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you're like that, you are like never receptive to like even like I don't know, like being like vulnerable or being in love again.
Yeah.
It's because you know you're gonna have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I'm at a point where I'm so shut down to that, where like I don't know if or when I can even open up again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what do you? I
So
feel
anyways,
like,
yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say like, what do you feel,
That was
Brenda?
deep.
Like, how do you
Thanks, bro.
feel? It was deep.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
Sure,
sure.
Like,
Thanks for
because that's a
opening up,
different
yeah.
perspective
sure.
that I honestly like.
Yeah.
I
Did you even thought?
think, yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
even
But
think
like
about.
that's what I'm saying. Like that is what
Because
happens.
that is a type
Yeah.
of a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, it
standpoint.
is.
Like,
Yeah.
It could be a relationship with someone,
Right.
friendships, family.
Right.
Like everyone, as you could see, like it's very different. Like for you as family. For you as friends. For me as family. For you as a loved one.
Right.
So like it's all love. Like it's all you obviously love that person, but it's very
Obviously.
different the way that relationship ends up panning out. I did want to ask you, Brenda, like have you ever been in a situation where you
Yes.
felt like you needed to separate or cut off whatever you want to call it?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I was in that situation like last year. Like you, like you're with somebody, and I feel like I came to a decision where I have to think about my happiness.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily a bad situation. I just knew it wasn't for me. So in a sense, it's not a bad situation, but it's toxic for me because I'm not growing, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to cut things off. It's hard, and I feel
It's
like
very hard.
not a lot of people can. I feel like to be able to cut yourself from somebody that you love and care about, it's very hard. Not a lot of people can do that because I feel like nowadays people are in relationships because it's convenient and it
Yes.
works. They
It's
don't
a
think
comfort thing,
It's a
I
comfort
think.
thing, right? And I feel like you have to really think like, yes, it's convenient, but are you happy? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna marry this person. Like you're gonna have to spend the rest of your life with them. So are you really gonna be happy, or are you just doing it just because pressure? You need to be married, you need to have kids. So
Right.
I feel like it's important to make that decision. What's best for you? It's hard,
Yeah.
but it's rewarding because I feel like I'm in a better place, in a better space. I'm single, but I'm happy.
Okay, so kind of going off of what you were kind of saying, Greg, when we were, well, both of you actually, when we're talking about toxic relationships, it's like you sometimes have to get to a point where you are kind of viewing your relationship in a sense where how I kind of say it in the way that I view it, which is a little bit different. And I know we have another podcast or another episode about that as well too, is like, I personally feel like the way that you view the person that you're with, you need to start thinking about from a female's perspective, are they the husband that you want them to be? Are they going to be the father that you want them to be to your future kids, if that's something you want? But are they the man that you need them to be for themselves? Not for you, but for themselves. And then the same thing vice versa for a man.
Yeah.
Like, is she the person you'd want as a wife? Is she the person that you'd want to raise your children? Is she the woman that you need her to be for her? Because that's something that I don't think people think about is like, you need to be the right man for you, aside from me being in like that type of predicament, because then it's like, they kind of piggyback and they focus more on their spouse instead of focusing on themselves. And
Right.
that's where that true
Right.
happiness derives. Because if you don't have that true happiness within yourself and you strictly focus on someone else, you build a false relationship and then you become resentful afterwards that you focus so much of your time on someone else.
Yeah, it's more just. I mean, for me, right? I've really I've just had that one experience in terms of it's over, like.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot of things. It was I mean, like really like getting down to it. It was just I had tried to make it work. I had tried over and over again. You know what? Like I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try that. You know, right?
And it gets to a point where you stop trying.
I stopped trying. It's just because I almost like gave up, and at that point,
Did you feel like
No,
you
no,
had
no.
to compromise too much of yourself? By
That's where I'm trying to
Yes.
get at. Like,
Yes.
that's what I was trying to word
Yes.
as. Like,
I-
what
like-
Because
causes
that's
that?
I think that's what brings you to that cutoff point. It's like if I have to like change something or compromise too much.
It's
of
like
my,
change
like,
me,
personal,
like change
yeah.
me.
Okay, yeah, that's
Then
what
it's like,
I
okay, you
that,
gotta
that
go.
makes sense
Like
now.
we're doing too much.
Yeah,
Like, you
right. Like,
gotta
don't get
go.
me wrong, right? I would do some very hurtful
Yeah,
things.
it's give and take, yeah.
I'm not
Both
I'm
ways.
not I'm not like not in
Yeah.
the wrong here. But what it came down to is it was a constant back and forth, a constant battle. It was between me and doing what I wanted to do and her and making her happy. And like I'm a lover. Like I love like full and hard. And the issue was that I was focusing on her, trying, and then like things didn't like work out, and then I'd be resentful, and I would resent my whole situation. And I'm like, why am I doing this? How am I living like this? How am I happy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
How am I ever supposed to be happy? And then it just like reached it was a breaking point where I had to cut that.
So kind of what I said, where
relationship.
it's like you get to a point where you are resentful because
Yeah.
you don't end up being the man that you need to be for yourself, and she can't be the woman that she needs to be for herself for you guys to have a healthy relationship.
Right.
'Cause I feel like when it comes to like dating wise, in my personal view, people can call me out and it's fine. I feel like you need to be the best version of yourself. They need to be the best version of themselves, and at your best,
Yes.
you need to see if you're compatible.
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
you might be at your lowest compatible and you're growing together, but what happens when you get to the best and like you guys want two different things? Like
That's-
you need to be able to work, and then I feel like
listen,
also understand that
no
when
one
you
is
go down.
perfect. No one is perfect. And I
Yeah,
was
no,
telling
no, no,
Raph this
no.
earlier. Like like you're not gonna want like. You're not gonna find a perfect person, no matter what.
Not possible.
It's impossible, right? So what you have to do in these situations is you find the person that checks off the most boxes for you,
Yeah.
which is important to you. Like what do you value in a relationship and in a significant partner? You
What's
know?
a necessity?
You know what I
And
mean?
you know,
Like
I
okay,
cannot
for
live
example,
without
like will
this.
she be a good wife? That's a box. You check that or not.
Yeah.
So when you're going through, that dating period or you're going through that time where you're meeting somebody, you quickly figure that out. It's not like something that,
Yes.
I find that, like in Greg's point, you kind of knew that already, I feel, but it
I
just
did.
dragged on for
It's
a very
because I
long
loved
time.
her.
Because of love, right?
Love.
It's
And-
that growing up
and-
with someone that you get comfortable in the growing pains
Yeah.
and the growing process, and it's
It's
like
that connection.
we've experienced so
But there's
much
a lot of
together.
things that go into that, like she said, convenience as well,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
different things play into that, right? So
Yeah, and it's all about compromise because, like you said, nobody's perfect. But I feel like a good relationship would be compromise. Like, what do you want me to do, vice versa? And if you're willing to do it, then it's gonna work. If not, then just
So you know what's happened though?
Yeah.
Is that like I have like right is like sacrifice or like compromise.
Yeah.
I have turned such a negative light on that whole thing. Now that I've been single and literally I do what I want. It's
Right,
just
right,
me.
right.
For me to go and like do that again,
yeah,
it's
it's tough, right?
tough.
It
But
has to be
scary.
can I say something? There has to be a balance with
That's-
compromise. Like, a level of what I'm willing to do, because I'm a personal believer is in a person will only do what you allow them to do.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
Greg is, and like he said, he's a lover and he always wants to please everybody. And you can't. And when you allow someone when you constantly compromise, and that person doesn't give,
you're just a dead person.
That's why it's to be a give and take.
It's like
You're
you're
like
accepting.
walking around.
You're
You're walking
the
around.
situation
You're
that
like
you're in.
you're beaten up.
you're just like
Yeah.
eating,
who is
shitting.
this person I've
Yeah.
become?
Yeah.
Because I've allowed
You don't
all of
like
this.
your entire happiness is reliant that when she's happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it shouldn't be like that.
And if she's not
It's
happy,
like when
it's
she's not
not
happy,
true.
like oh my god, like what
What
is
do
it?
I
am I
do?
doing? Yeah.
Right? And look, I'm not throwing shade on her. Who knows if she's gonna hear it, whoever.
Yeah.
But I'm just like I wasn't a perfect
Right.
boyfriend. I made a lot of mistakes. I was so hurtful. And what it really comes down to was why was I doing those things? It's because I was not happy
Yeah.
with
yourself.
with my situation.
Right.
I'm gonna go find my happiness and say, you know what, fuck you. I'm gonna go do this or I'm gonna go do that.
Yeah.
And it's a resentment.
Yeah.
That it just finally led to a point.
It led to breaking
done.
point.
Which is good, yeah, because
Yeah.
it would have been a whole back and forth. Like I do this, you do
Right.
this, I do this, right?
Yeah.
It comes
And
it comes like tag between two people,
Yeah.
and it's like
It's not.
it
Yeah.
obviously becomes extremely unhealthy at that point
it's,
because it's like
toxic at that point.
Yeah.
it's topic from the drum that really makes it toxic because it's like at what
like a
point is
game.
enough? At what
Yeah.
point
You know
do you
what?
pull the plug?
I said this before. Some people, no one's perfect, right? But you know what? You can find the perfect person for you. Literally, compatibility.
Oh, yeah.
wise.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
but not be happy.
Wait, say that again. You can find the perfect
You can
person.
find the
okay,
perfect
shed
person.
light on that. Shed light
You
on
can find
that.
the perfect person, right? Like you can, like I've heard it. Like we're, just friends or whatnot. Like this girl is perfect for me, but I'm not happy with.
Oh,
her.
I get what you're going with.
Do you know what I
this.
mean? Like she's literally
okay.
the
When you're
perfect
too
woman that I
compatible
want.
to someone where it's like
But I'm-
everything
but-
I like,
but-
you like,
but I'm
everything you like, and I
still
like,
not-
but
like,
we're just
not
not
happy.
happy.
Yeah. Just not
because
happy.
it's almost like, have you ever seen like when a girl's like, for instance, like a female, and they're like, yeah, like we're so good and stuff, but they're like, he's too nice. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're good, but he's
Yeah.
too
When is
nice.
that a bad thing?
Yeah.
When did that?
Like
become
it's
a
not a
bad thing?
bad thing, but it's like you
Yeah.
need that
And-
little bit of ruggedness to make
right.
you feel
No, no, no.
like alive in your relationship.
Yes.
It's that alive
Yes.
feeling
Yes.
that
But
you
then
need.
it's not the right person for you then.
It's not the right person, but it doesn't mean they're not compatible.
Like
They're
this is the,
100%
I'm talking like this is the
compatible, but they're not
perfect
nice.
person
That is
for
true,
you.
yeah.
But like you're just not happy
don't
with
know.
them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe you went your whole like I'm speaking from a perspective. Maybe you went your whole life dating girls that are like stuck up or mean.
Yeah.
And you finally find this girl, but you're just not happy with her because she's not what you've dated before.
She's not what you
And
used
she's
to.
She's not what you used to.
Yeah.
And she's not she's perfect for you though, compatibility wise, but she's just not happy.
So you can't settle because you're
You
not
can't
necessarily
settle,
happy.
right?
You need to find
So,
the
like-
balance between what is perfect for you and what you're used to, and be
Right.
like, there has to
You
be
gotta be
someone with a little
perfectly
sass.
perfectly
And
imperfect.
not
And do you know
everyone
what it
blessed
is? And
to
you-
find that. Not
no,
everyone.
no,
It's
not
very hard to
everybody.
find
Right.
that. It's not easy.
Right.
It's
But
not
I
easy
feel
to
like that's the
find.
point of growing with someone is like when you're in a relationship now you've committed and you're growing with someone, you kind of have to get to that point where you're like, okay, this is what I like about them. This is what I feel like I need that I'm lacking in them. How can we work on it so that maybe you do get to that point without you compromising exactly who you are
Yeah.
as an individual? Like I don't want you to give
But
too
don't
much,
you
but
feel
like
at our
It
age,
becomes a very-
that's hard to do. Like now, like
I feel like you're definitely
we've-
set in your
we've-
ways
we
while you're
met-
in your late
and-
20s, 30s. You're definitely
Yes.
have like a set in your ways motion.
Yes.
Like I do get called out in my own relationship. Like they'll be like, yeah, like I've just learned like you're petty, and I'm like, I'm glad you know.
Right.
Because like
It's just like
it
so-
might
yeah.
not change.
Right.
But I 100% agree with you. Like I'm happy that like I felt like I met my soulmate when I
Yeah.
was 18. So like we got to grow together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think like if I were to be single now, like no, it's like it's a shit show right now. Like
Yeah.
It's definitely
it wouldn't be
difficult.
the same. It wouldn't have been
Yeah.
the same.
It's
at
definitely
all.
a shit show. Bigger for me. It's
What about
it's
Rap's
yeah.
single?
Rap's a single
How
guy.
you guys
Talk
call
about
them
single
up?
What's your yeah?
How is it
So
being
what's
single?
your take? Right
If you're an
now
Instagram
on
baddie
the
and you
single
find
life and-
Rap attractive, please
okay.
slide.
Raph wants a
in the
baddie.
comments.
In the DM or in the
Raph-
comments.
If you are an
Tell the
Instagram
whole
baddie,
world.
Savage.
Tell the whole
And-
world.
I'm trying to find you, y'all.
know what?
Holla
I'm
at
gonna-
him. I'm gonna get you the
I'm gonna give a
Instagram,
shout out
DM
right now.
Instagram
So
doesn't
DM me.
exist.
if you're a gym or you sell gym clothing, you sell protein, anything like that, holla at Greg. Leave it in the comments. If you have any beard oils, beard essential kits, my man Ehab is taking sponsorships
Yo,
right now.
here we go.
If you're a
Here we
baddie,
go.
you want some photography done,
Rap.
let Raph
And
know.
that is
Okay.
something I'm not opposed to.
Yeah, like
Hey.
let Raph know.
Yes.
If you want some,
Some Titanic
candles,
shit.
No,
Brenda
I
can
need-
help you with
I-
candles.
Listen, I need you to insert
I can't help you, but
his
help you help your
Instagram
life.
handle
That's all
right
I can
here.
help you with.
Right here, just insert his Instagram. Zoom in on his face.
I'm gonna need
and
Jordan to
insert
do
it.
an
You know what I mean? If you were an
animation.
Instagram
Yes.
baddie, like
It's
he's
the lines
available
coming,
and ready.
animation.
In the
You gotta get
description.
this.
Holla at Raph. Don't let him lie to you guys. He
He be
wants
getting
the
the
baddies.
shot. He be getting the shot. And
Toronto baddies,
Greg Smooth
holla at
Boys,
him.
he's definitely available.
But you
Toronto
know what?
baddie.
Like relationships, like have like how people meet and how people start their relationship is so different. Than,
Yeah.
than
It's very
when
different.
When I was single, right? Like I can honestly say I've never been on any like dating website, so I can't really speak on like a single life now. Like Raph could, or Greg can, or Brenda could,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like I just, I feel like it's a lot more complex now, and millennials are so not loyal anymore. We grew up in a time, and this is just facts, right? Like the divorce rate is 50%. We grew up in a time where millennials were growing up with separated parents, right? And that causes you to feel like even the people that you look up to, because as a kid you're growing up to these parents, and they couldn't even keep it together, or loyalty wasn't there.
You
right?
look at
And
marriage completely
and
different.
That's why I find that millennials are not loyal anymore. Like it's so easy to say, okay, yeah. This didn't work out. I got another one here, or I'm talking to this girl here.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't.
Yeah.
She's whatever. I'm gonna go to this one, and it's called like tree branching essentially. But that's
Yeah.
why.
Honestly, I do want to go off of that. It's so funny that you said that because my aunt actually posted something today, and it really resonated with me. And she said, if you didn't come from a healthy family, make sure a healthy family comes from you. So that is something to take point as
hard though.
millennials.
But what
It's
is
very
it? What is
difficult,
a healthy
but
but
family,
it should be an
though?
aspiration. If you didn't come from a happy family, like for me, for instance, like I never grew up, like I told you, with like a very close family, but something I've always wanted is like a family of my own, and my like happy like mentality. Like we both know, like I'm obsessed with Christmas. Like it's the best day of the whole entire world. Like, it doesn't matter.
100%.
So when it comes to Christmas, I've always envisioned having a large family, a lot of kids, and them having a lot of cousins and kids and themselves and stuff like that, and them growing together, because that's something I wish I had growing up that I never had. So since I didn't come from necessarily a happy family or a happy home or a big home, that is an aspiration I have for myself, which would, like, from the first podcast that we did, that's why it's a goal for me, where I'm like, house, family, that's what makes me happy, because it's a goal. If you didn't come from it and it's something that you want,
You always want
should
what
try
you
to
didn't
attain
have,
it.
right? At the
Yeah.
end of the day. But like, I find
But
that
I
like,
had the opposite effect where it's like my mom was divorced twice, and now I look at marriage as in like, if I love someone, I love someone. I don't need a piece of paper to tell me that I love someone.
Yeah.
That's how I look at
So
it
that
now.
was it right
I
there,
don't
like,
need.
make sure, like,
I
a happy
don't
family.
need.
Yeah.
I don't need to get married to feel fulfilled anymore, because you know what I mean. Like that. Like she kind of ruined that for me. I don't look at it like that.
I just feel like
Yeah.
the dating game right now for millennials is extremely it's extremely hard. It's extremely
Yeah.
cutthroat in a sense that, like, you know, you never felt more alone than when you are now. I find. You
Oh,
never
absolutely.
felt more alone. Like if you're single
agree.
right now and as a millennial
I
and
feel
you're
like he's
in,
talking to me. He's like, if you're single right now.
no,
I'm
but
kidding, I'm
I
kidding, I'm
feel
kidding.
that because I see my friends that are out there, you know,
Jordan co-signs what you have said.
No, we can't relate because we've been in a relationship for so long. Right?
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
going
yeah.
on 8 years.
Yeah.
So like when we
No.
hear our friends talk, we're like, oh my
Well,
god.
Yeah, I'm going on
Yeah.
6 years now, so I'm
Yeah.
like, but my relationship
But-
started very differently from the way that you guys did. You guys kind of went straight into a relationship, like we weren't.
What do you mean straight into like?
They started dating.
we
like,
were
worked
friends
together.
first,
yeah,
actually.
we
Okay.
became friends for.
But, like,
I was
for
actually
years.
dating
That's
someone
cute.
when we
Work
met.
friends?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
cute.
wow.
And
That's
then
cute.
I became single.
Okay.
And he asked me out like that's
Yeah,
it.
but
He's
in
like,
no
baby
time.
girl.
Oh wow,
Baby
wow.
girl, what you
And
doing
look at it
tonight?
now.
Baby
And
girl.
we've been
Huh?
inseparable.
Yeah.
That's
That's
crazy.
exactly
That's
right.
good
That's
for
exactly
me.
that same voice.
For me, it was
Aw.
very different from that, though. Like, I had gotten out of a long-term relationship. I hung out with him for a little bit, and then after, like, honestly, a few years of kind of like, we're kind of together, we're kind of not together, we then decided to put a title on things and, like, really take it forward. But I don't feel any less in a relationship than you do, because, like, we're both in situations now. You 8 years later, I'm 6 years later, and it's like we're both still living with our spouses. Like, we're both still thinking of, like, family, kids, you know, marriage. Like, that's still something
That's
that is
beautiful,
our,
right?
like,
Like,
That
that-
is beautiful.
future. But we
That
started
right-
very differently. So I
Right.
feel like that's hope I almost want to give to millennials, is like, I didn't start normally like anybody
There's
else
no
did.
right way
Like,
to start,
at
though,
all.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I didn't. But to have hope that it could happen, pretty much, it's like, it wasn't normal or regular for me, even back when, like, people were having regular relationships or starting regular relationships. It wasn't the case for me, but, like, it developed and blossomed into something nice. So have hope in it.
I just feel like it's too easy and convenient now to just say, like, okay, I find that, like, before, like, old fashioned, and, you know, I'm not just speaking on my parents or anything, but, like, they kept it together. You know what I mean? But, like,
Yeah.
kept it together. They did it for the sake of, like, either the family or whatever the case, religion, other things, right? And I find, like, now millennials are so quick to just white flag. It's done. We're done. We're
I
done.
agree.
We're
I
done.
agree
We're
with
done. Like, there's no, like, let's fight for this, you know? Like,
They're like,
I was
cuffing
talking about
season's around
divorce
the
rate.
corner. I don't need to
talking
be
about-
here.
Yeah, I was talking about divorce
Yeah.
rate, right? Like, the divorce rates really started to, like, double since the 80s, right? We're born in the 90s, right? So millennials really got affected the most from, like, the
Absolutely.
skyrocketing
The
of
trickle
divorces
down.
where it was no longer
Yeah.
frowned upon, where it was, like,
See-
an
see-
everyday thing. Now celebrities are doing it. Everybody's getting divorced. Like it's,
Yeah.
it's like,
Like,
a
it's
new
nothing.
thing. Like, people are planning their divorces after they just get married. Like,
Yeah.
it's come to that
I feel
stage
like
now.
it's gotten to a point in life, and, like, we'll get into the next topic after this, but, like, I feel like it has gotten to a point in life where it's like, I don't even know how to say it properly without, like, probably hurting someone's feelings, but it's like,
Just say it, girl.
people don't value marriage. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Millennials
believe
do
that,
not
yeah.
value marriage the way we should value marriage.
Some of them do. Like some of
For
them
the majority, I do
Right,
want to say
right,
people do not
right,
value it, because
right.
like, even if you think of people like that aren't necessarily millennials, or the age gap between our parents and millennials, so like people in their like 40s, maybe early 50s, you've still seen them get divorced. Like you said, you've seen celebrities like, I'm getting divorced after like 3 months. Like, what did you try?
These
Yeah,
women
it's the
that
same.
that teenagers idol are constantly getting divorced.
That's
and,
my
like, with
point. So it's
different
like, you
men.
don't really
So it makes
value
it
it, because
just-
the thing that you can
It
always say is like,
normalizes it.
oh, if things don't go right, I'll just
I'll
get
get
divorced.
divorced, and
Whereas
that's
when
that.
you think of it from
Let's
a
move
religious
on.
standpoint, like, I'm a Christian, you know what I mean? Like, I truly believe that like if I am getting married to someone, I should be giving my all. I don't think that you should stay in a relationship no matter what. Like obviously if you're getting abused or something, leave.
Yeah.
But I do feel like you should fight for your relationship and you should fight to try, because at some point in time, you did love this person. You did want to marry them. You did say yes. Try. And I don't feel like going into it, I feel like people are more so into like, I can't wait to have the party of getting married. You're okay with the event, but you're not good with the constitution of marriage.
Janae,
and I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't necessarily value.
So you don't think that, okay, so my views on like divorce is like all over the place, but you don't think that people that get divorced try though? Like I feel like nobody really, like I get what you're saying where people are just so quick to leave a relationship, but I just feel like nowadays I feel like people are more aware that you don't have to, because I feel like old school is you have to stay no matter what.
Yeah.
But I feel like people now are choosing their happiness before, you know what I mean?
Right?
Definitely a thought
I want to touch on
process.
that too. It's
Yeah.
like more just we're being raised or brainwashed
Yeah.
in a sense that you are number one and you are just you. It's do whatever makes you happy, do whatever. That's sure, I get it, but it's a point where it's too far.
Like the quickest
too
thing
far
goes
there.
wrong. Like that's the way I view it. Like
Yeah,
the quickest
as the quickest
goes
thing
wrong,
goes wrong, and you're
Yeah.
not even trying because you're
You're
like,
out the door already.
because
Yeah.
you
Right?
have the mindset at that
But-
point.
but
I
at
don't
this-
blame you, but you have the mindset at that point where you're like, you're angry and you can't let it go.
Yeah.
Like you are so built up with aggression and resentment and anger, you can't physically let it go because, again, based off of how you see other people or society or whatever you view, like you hear celebrities and why they broke up, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I'm leaving for that reason. But then I actually, no offense, like I don't necessarily say I would be in that situation, I would do the same thing. But I do appreciate people that are like, Beyonce, that are like, yeah, you know what, I did get cheated on, but they made it work. They tried hard to make it work. But I feel like it takes a big person to stay in that situation. That's what I mean. Like, if you
does.
can,
But
It
I
does.
feel like if you're not
Try.
with the right person, it's harder. Like you said, if your feelings are so hurt that you cannot let it go, then it wasn't the right person to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
with. If you truly love and care about that person,
You'll try for what you want to try for,
exactly.
right? So
and not
Yeah,
only
I
that,
think
too,
that's what
on
I'm
the
trying to say.
opposite end. Like,
Yeah.
if I love you and I care about you and you know that you have my trust 152%, you shouldn't be doing anything that's gonna make me feel like
Right.
I need
there's
to leave.
always two sides of the coin.
Oh, 100%.
right? And what happens?
But you if in that you made your choice then. You made your choice. You knew you had my feelings.
Right.
And you fucked up. So you made your choice.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? That's still on you. That's what I'm saying, right? I have to be accountable. I'm accountable. Anything that I do reflect on him and vice versa. So I have to be accountable. I made that choice. So I know I fucked
it's a
up.
partnership. You are going into a marriage
100%.
as a partnership. So I do
100%.
understand it where it's like, yes, you know, this is a relationship. Yes, you know, you don't want to just give up. I don't feel like you should stay in it. Obviously, if it's not for you, don't do that.
No, you
like
should
I wouldn't
definitely
say
try,
that.
though.
You should definitely try. I don't want to say that no one tries when they get divorced because I don't believe that at all.
Yeah.
But it is a partnership, and just like how you said, like people kind of stuck it out. You have to understand why they stuck it out. It is a partnership. You're signing
What's
on
the
for a
number- okay,
partnership.
A big reason, you know, and I wouldn't say it's top tier, but a big reason that a lot of couples don't get divorced is financial.
Yeah,
reasons,
they do-
right?
'cause
so
yeah,
they're
that's true, yeah.
compromising financially for
They build their whole life together. Like they're not
you
trying
know
to
what
rip
I
it
mean?
apart
They're
and
not
get
trying to
half
rip
of
it
it.
apart. And you know, kids and whatnot. So there's a lot
But
of
it's also a reason
factors
what
on this
causes
topic.
divorces as well.
To kind of summarize it up, though, I just want to ask, like, really quickly, and I guess we'll same thing like last time. We'll just kind of go round table about it. Is like, have you ever had to cut off a family member? If so, why? If not, do you feel like what do you feel like would get you to that point where you feel like you had to cut off or separate, which way you want to word it?
Family member?
Actually, I'm going to start with you.
So yes, I will say that I have had to cut off an aunt actually, and the reason I felt that way is because she liked to meddle in like mine and my mom's relationship, and so I felt like even though she is definitely like I want to say like a big figure in our family. Like she holds the family together. She's definitely someone that we look to. We have a lot of respect for. But because of that, she obviously uses that role that she has
As like power.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
as power. And so it's not that I don't love her, and it's not that I don't like have respect for her, and I don't wish her the utmost like she deserves everything in the world. I just can't be around her. I refuse to like for her to know anything about me, what I'm doing. Like I don't want her to know my business, like period. And so she's blocked. And so
she's blocked.
She just can't.
Blocked.
I just don't want to associate it with it. Like, I'm wearing my fucking bracelet right now in case she sees, like, evil eye for all of you.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
Shots
like-
fired.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We're keeping that.
I'm looking at your
And,
face over there. Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, and so, and that's just how I felt. I felt like in order for me and my mom to grow and have a better relationship, we needed to remove her.
Yeah.
And so my mom needed
all
to
right.
remove her, and so that's just what had to happen. But that's just because, like I said, it's just, you know what I mean? And we can still be at family functions and be
Coexist,
respectful to her,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But she's not going to know our personal business. Like, that's not going to happen.
Right.
All right. Shout out to Auntie Pinky, by the way. Greg.
Auntie Pinky.
Damn, Auntie Pinky. Why Auntie Pinky?
That's her name.
Yeah, why Auntie Pinky? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Auntie
Shout out to Auntie
Pinky.
Pinky.
Calling her out.
Yeah.
If we don't call her out, she's gonna be in my messages. I don't need that.
She's very possessive. of
Right,
Janae.
right.
She is.
Myself,
That's cute.
I've been very blessed in my life. I had a great upbringing, wonderful parents. I have a wonderful brother.
Amen to that.
I've been truly blessed in that aspect, and so
Yeah.
like it hurts when I hear you like say that, like, have you ever had to cut someone off, and like hearing you have, and you too far, it's like, ow, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
for
myself.
Oh, it's not an easy thing
Yeah,
for sure.
and I just, you know, it's not an easy decision.
Yeah.
But you know, at the same time, you just have to remember that you need to do what's right for you, and it may not be the right decision down the road, and you may be like, oh my God, like I miss my aunt, or like and maybe then you can cross that path and maybe try to reconnect, right?
Never
Yeah.
say never.
But it's just right now at this very moment, what are you doing? How are you feeling? And is that person helping you? If they're not,
Yeah.
out of
Let
your
it go.
life, right? And so
Exactly.
I've been very blessed, and I'm humbled to hear
That's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
from you guys.
Honestly, I'd say the same. I can't even like picture me cutting off someone from my family. I can't even like picture it in my head. It's because I'm like, you know, like Greg said, you know, same thing with me. Like, very blessed. My parents, you know, growing up, I have 4 siblings, so it's a big family. But I mean, I can't even picture life or even aunts and uncles that I rarely see. Like, I when I do see them, I like seeing them. You know, like it's not.
Yeah.
Like it's, you know, it's good. It's good time. So I gotta say, I'm humbled and I'm blessed. And I've never had to do anything like that or cut off. You know what? I don't even remember even cutting off somebody in my life before. So
wow.
Yeah.
you know, I've never had to cut off somebody in my life. I feel like
I feel like with your
very similar,
personality as
like
well
me.
too, though.
Yeah.
People know if Ehab doesn't fuck with you. You know if Ehab doesn't fuck with you. So Ehab doesn't need to
that
cut you
too.
off. You know if he don't like you, and if
Everybody
he don't
likes
like you,
him.
like that too. Everyone loves Ehab. Like
Everyone
everyone loves
wants to
Ehab
be
and
his
Greg.
friend.
That's just
Yeah.
is what it is.
And see, like my thing too, which
They're people.
right, like I just have to be careful of is that like when I meet anybody, a stranger, whoever, when you're good to me or you have a good vibe, I'll be good to you.
Yeah.
And for some people, like it like rarely happens like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And they'll think that like I want to be like their best friend or like, oh my God, like you're cool. Like yeah, right? Like let's hang out. And that's just me being nice, right?
Yeah.
And I gotta be careful because like sometimes maybe I'm too
Then people misconstrue.
Too, yeah,
right?
they're too
Right,
attached.
right. I'm
I've had
too
that happen
open.
too.
But anyways, yeah.
Raph.
Yeah, so I've actually had to do it to a couple people before. But like what we were talking about is, you know, sometimes you have to cut people off because you're not growing as a person. I believe it was you said that.
Yeah, Brendan said
Right?
that.
You don't grow as a person. So and it's not only like relationship wise, it's regular friend wise, it's business partner wise, you know? There's so many it goes deeper than relationships. But in terms of my family though, I don't, like you both said, right? That'd just be like crazy. Like something drastic would have to happen,
like something
right?
like something
like God
I
forbid,
can't even
like
picture
someone, you know.
Do something to your mom or something. Like you would.
Yeah,
Can I ask
you
a
know?
question for you guys really quickly before we go on?
Yeah.
You all are all raised in like a 2-parent home, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not. Just only by your mom. Okay, okay.
Okay.
But their parents are
yeah,
still together.
like
Yeah.
right, like my
I
like
feel like it does have a thing to do with your upbringing. That's why I was asking that because I wanted
it was
to see if
happy.
that
It was
had, like, a
happy
big
and it
thing.
was
yeah.
it was very
Honestly,
Yeah.
like
It was
I had an
family
amazing
oriented.
upbringing.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even like my parents did everything they could to make us happy.
You know,
Like, I gotta
That's good.
give them everything they like. They get all the credit because if it wasn't for them, like who
Yeah.
knows, you know?
What
shout
about
out
you,
mom and
Brendan?
dad. Yeah.
Yeah, shout
Yeah.
out mom and dad for sure.
Yeah, I want to make a point. So you see how you asked them if they grew up with 2 parents. So
Yeah.
I grew up with a single mom, and I
Okay.
feel like my upbringing was even better than most people that had the two parent,
Nice.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's great to have mom and dad, but sometimes people that have mom and dad, it's toxic, and as a kid, you see that. So I
Oh,
feel like
good
you don't
point, good
necessarily
point.
have to have two parents to have a good upbringing. It's just what you see, and
Very good
you
point.
know?
Very
So-
good point.
But I wouldn't mind cutting off family members, with the exception of my cousins and my aunt. But if you're not making me happy or my mom, then why am I still family?
Yeah.
Like, why am I still talking to you?
It's black and white.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, so that's pretty much it. I mean, we all heard me. Like, snip, snip.
Loud and clear. It ain't nothing to cut that bitch on.
Sing it, Greg.
Yeah,
From my soul.
Hey,
Like, I'm twerking it out, like,
hey.
and your point.
Like, right?
But no, honestly, I do feel like it has a big thing to do with your upbringing. I know
definitely.
how my upbringing was. I wasn't necessarily straight off from my family members necessarily, but we were never like super duper close. So growing up, I genuinely kind of like tend to my friends, and I feel like that's a big reason why me and Farah became good friends, is because she has siblings. I mean, I have siblings, but we more so spend a lot of time with each other. So like my friends have become my family. That's
good,
just something
yeah.
that has happened with me.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah, that's just me personally. I thank you guys for again being a part of the secondary podcast. Or
Thank you for having
I don't even
us.
know what number this is being at. We're pre-recording. I'm not gonna front with y'all, but
Back to back.
I do appreciate this. And yeah, I can't wait to have you guys in the next one.
Yeah.
Thank you guys
Shall
so much
we
for
cheers
listening.
it out?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey,
Cheers.
shout out.
And tune in again next week for our next episode. Again, we post every Thursday. Sincerely, Millennials.
Love it.
Yes.